Okay, season's ending, so we need that new hero tier list for that last minute push. So these are the best heroes that you can actually play in your ranked games. Let's go. Okay, in Clash Lane, very simple. Byron Spark Maze, still definitely S tier right now because strong laning phase in early game beats up almost any of the melee counterparts. Maybe not Lubu though, or Miyue, but it's fine. And his sustain game is very strong. Playmaking, I would say, lower compared to the other heroes, but he's definitely capable of doing a lot of these things. Sustain, engage, flanking, just by this hero. Very strong so far in the meta. The next one is the Martial Genius Magin. This hero for me, super strong playmaking and single target burst heavy. She's like a pseudo assassin in the Clash Lane role, but downside of her is that you need to practice the mechanics and the combo frequency on how to properly play her in and out, you know? The next up will be Dharma, the Martial Monk. Very similar playstyle to Magin, but you go for the big AoE combos, the big 5-man truth mantras onto the wall, or you target the backline. He's still very strong. I would say if you see him competitive, if you see him pro games, he's always up there. Now, a different playstyle, Charlotte. More on the 1v1 style, and once you hit that 3 to 4 item power spike, that's where you are more in and out kiting in the team fights with your auto attack resets and your spell resets. Similar enough, this is a pseudo hybrid as well. Good 1v1, although weak laning, but still, I would say Fatih the Mighty Conqueror, he has really good single source DPS and strong sustain. His 1v1 game, on top right now. And now, the newcomer into the Clash Lane list, I would say is Yang Jie and Twilight. This hero, right, for me, his sustain is very good. Laning, not so good, but once he gets out of lane, his AoE burst damage is pretty high, especially you have spell 1. If you can dog one person, reset, you can really do multiple big plays on this hero. And then a controversial one will be Miyue, the Rathnus. This hero, right, it's very different to any of these in the list. She's more of a selfish, greedy Clash laner that plays split push, and she gets all the resources in her pocket so she can dominate that side lane. Once you are very strong and ahead in items, that's where you pull enemies to go and visit you and waste their time, and you will ask them like, hey, you're 1v1, you can't win me. 1v2, maybe you can. 1v3, that's where you know. Once you pull 3 people to you, your team can definitely get those macro objectives like Tyrant, Overlord, or the cross map. Next up will be jungle. So for jungle, simple enough, Luna and also Jing, Moonblade and Broken Mirage still up there because these two heroes, once they hit level 4, they're unstoppable due to how strong their abilities and skill set are. For Luna, it's about the infinite resets on her ultimate. For Jing, is the infinite mobility during her ultimate. And these two heroes, they traverse the gorge. It means like how far they can travel around the map, how fast they can travel the map. They do it very efficiently with their farming and ganking styles. So these two heroes, if you have the mechanics, please still play them. They only have a few counters like what, Daji, or like things like the Donghuang, which is very low in play rate, so do keep that in mind. But if you like fast farming, macro-centric playstyle, very aggressive in the early game, give Pei a try. Tigress so far in the meta, there is 2 things. If you play the first 4 minutes perfectly, you win the game. If you play the first 4 minutes in a very odd shape or you make mistakes, he doesn't really reward you. Tigress Pei, he's more of a high-risk, high-reward hero that gives a lot of resources to himself. If you fail to be super duper fed at the 4th minute mark, or you fail to make the enemy bleed gold from their jungle, you'll feel that he's just another marksman. But once you master the playstyle of Pei, you will start to feel like you control the game with much more aggression in your hand. And he's a very strong hero, I would say, in the jungle. Very aggressive, can really counter out these weak early game junglers. Now, another strong early game jungle, but in the form of a tank, is actually Augur and Soul Guy. After so many nerfs, once you go to tank build, he's still very strong up in the list of jungle because easy to play, broken spell kit, and strong sustain. This hero can do it all. And even if you don't want to play tank build, you can go for the physical damage build if you have the mastery to do so. So very flexible, strong from early to mid game, and slightly falls off in the late game, whether you're going physical or tank build. And the newcomer into this list is definitely Yang Jian. For me, Yang Jian, the reason why he's strong in jungle and Clash Lane is because of his base stat. His base stat is so damn OP. So much sustain, so much damage, you can reset. Only down part is that he doesn't have solid mobility. If he doesn't hit his dog on the camps or the enemy, he can't really run around the map as fast as these heroes. See, all these, they have like mobility around the map. And then Monkey. This hero, I feel like he's very newbie friendly. And if you go to tank build or the semi-tank build, you hardly go wrong. You can just play this, pick it up, and press buttons, and you'll still win the game. That's how strong Monkey is as a hero in the early to mid game. Very good for newbies who want to climb rank in the jungle role. And the newcomer into this list is actually Flowborn Tank. Now, Flowborn Tank is an interesting one because it really counters out jungle heroes like Luna and also Jing, because his spell 2, once you bounce them, it locks them down however far they go. So it's a very good anti-dashing hero counter here. Okay, next up, mages. My Shiranui Fire Ninja is still definitely up there in terms of the priority, but her only problem is that 1, she cannot wave clear. 2, she's capped by difficulty and not very friendly to new users. But aside from that, burst, rotations, early game tempo, mobility, she's up there in terms of the S tier in mid lane. Next up will be the utility mages in the mid role. You will have Yixing, Lady Zhen, and also Shi. These 3 heroes for me, they function the same way. Once you get like 2 to 3 items, Venomous Staff, Mass of Agony, you start to give a lot of pressure for the enemy, because once you hit one spell, it really locks down the enemy tank or backline with ease. Like for example, Shi, once she hits the pool, the enemy frontline immediately gets like destroyed. Like Lady Zhen as well, once the enemy frontline in terms of like a Ogren or Dune comes in and you drops the ultimate on them, they get really messed up. And then Yixing, same thing, you play aggressive, you play disengage, you can drop the board and lock people in. So they function about the same way as utility mages. Don't need too much gold, and you can really play as the engage or playmaker for your team as well in a teamfight setup way, control mages. Now, if you're into the carry mages like artillery mages, try Ganemo, the Freshly Forged, and also the Nuwa, the Celestial. These 2, right, for me, their carry potential is uncapped, especially for Ganemo, right? He's strong from early to late game. Similar to my Shiranui, your only problem is yourself and the enemy team, where you don't have much mobility, but once you hit those like daggers on the enemy, he does a shit ton of damage on this hero here. So definitely very worth a pickup here. Strong early game damage with wave clear, strong mid to late game poke and burst damage. Only thing, no mobility, easy to catch off by assassins. Celestial is different. She's kind of weak early game, not a lot of wave clear, slow early game, but once she hits that level 4 or 5 marker, she gets to run around the map with her teleport, and then those blocks really can screw up tanks like Monkey, Flowborn Tank, or even those heroes that are not really mobile against Celestial. And then late game, that's when one ultimate coming from her ultimate, Celestial, Nuwa, chunks out like 70% of HP. So very good pickup here for these 2 if you're into late game carries. Now, one more before we end the mid list. Yu Huan is a very special one. She can play either utility like Shi Yixing, or she can play carry like Ganemo or Nuwa because of her ability to change builds. So there's a semi-tank build that you can play the healing one for your team and be this sustain monster that goes into the front line, bait out spells, and use ultimate to go away, or the carry style that goes full magic damage if there's a Dolia on your team. So this is definitely a very interesting one to pick up, and it's easy to play, so definitely worth to pick up here. Okay, now for farm lane marksman, Arlie and Long still definitely one of the best marksmen that you can pick in the game. Arlie Pearl Solo is because of her strong mid game, able to play that 1v1 in the side lane, and her opportunity with her mobility is very good in the game itself. And Long Aoyin, his burst potential is very high, and his ultimate is like one of the best escape tools so far. You can play it to retreat, you play to play aggressive, very flexible as a hero. Only downside for Long is that he's not really strong in bursting down tanks, and downside for Arlie, she's not really strong in the late game compared to the other marksmen that I will introduce you in this list. Next up will be Marco Polo, more of a playmaker in the farm lane role, weak early but strong mid to late game with his long poke with his spell 1. He doesn't need to go all in, but once he goes all in, it's a very big playmaking potential with his ultimate, which is like a Blazing Duet or like a Fuel Barrage, a spinning ultimate, right? But he's the only marksman that's similar to Arlie in this list that can split push in the side lane and move around the map very quickly. That's why when you see a Marco Polo and Arlie, yes, they're not strong late game, but the ability of them to dominate mid game is really strong. Next up on the list will be Lady Sun, one of the strongest laners in the marksman pool, capable of defeating any of these 3 marksmen. And the only difficulty of this hero is that it's very difficult to pick up. Yes, strong burst, strong laning, but you often think like, oh, after laning phase, why do I fall off and why do I die so easily? That's the difficulty of the Lady Sun, but if you master her, very rewarding of a hero. Now, for more late game marksmen, Chano and also Floorball Marksman. For me, Chano is super duper good in this list because it counters marksmen like Arlie, Long, Marco Polo with his super strong laning here. The only downside about Chano is that he's weak in the mid game when he doesn't hit that 3-item power spike. But once he hits 4 or 5 items, that's when Chano controls the game immediately. Strong damage, burst tank, burst squishy, he does it all. Only downside, weak early game and then no strong mobility. Floorball Marksman, similar, weak early game, but once you hit that 1 to 2 item into 3 items, that's when you see your ultimate gives you so much value. You can poke, you can assassinate, you can reach enemy from such a far range, and you can really just make their life so miserable. A very good late game marksman duo here. Like in HOK, late game is always welcome because enemies are prone to make mistakes. So picking up Chano and Floorball Marksman, making sure that you keep farming towards that late game, making sure the enemy has a sign of mistake, that's how you come back as a farmer with these two heroes. But hey, if you don't know what to play, you can always pick the Magistrate DUNJ. He's one of the heroes out there that has no real counters, only he will fall off in the late game. But you can say that Sagi doesn't have strong mobility, he's kind of weak in the late game, but you cannot deny the fact that his early game is super duper strong in the laning phase, and he's one of those farm lanes that can play alone without the support of the teammates here. So that's what makes him special. Lastly, the roamers, Diadia, Sakir. These two, OP in the early game. Diadia is one of the only roamers in the game that has the mechanic to infinitely scale. The money that she steals and generates from spell 2 and healing from your teammate, she funds the money into her ultimate for more damage, more healing to your ally and to your enemy. So very strong, and her early game super duper good here. Definitely a worthy pickup for the Bond Weaver. And Sakir, he's very special, of hyper aggressive roamer that can provide healing and strong early game, but he falls off, I would say, in the mid to late game because he's squishy, and if you go in and engage without bushes nearby, you can't really escape. So that's his downside. But early game, I give it to Sakir, OP. Now, if you want to play a much more early to late game consistent roamer that has healing as well, play Yu-Huan. Yu-Huan is one of the most welcome roamers in the HOK Pro scene. Her ability to clear waves early game for his teammates, her ability to fish check bushes with her ultimate, her ability to fund healings to the teammates and poke the enemy top tier level. Just need to learn her power curve, that's what you need to do. And if you want to play even stronger laning phase, play Mozi, Peacekeeper. He's one of the most annoying to play against. One blink of an eye, you lose all your HP because of his Cannon Blast, his spell 2. So annoying, I hate playing against Mozi. One of the worst to play against, but his downside, not the easiest setup if you cannot hit spell 2, and your ultimate, you need to play it perfectly with your flash or spell 1 flash. So you need a lot of practice with Mozi here. Now, for some love to the tank roamers here, Lapu Lapu, the new release Rifat Dadu, I would say that he's easier to play because it's not as costly as Zhang Fei. Because Zhang Fei, once you miss your ultimate, it's over. But Lapu Lapu, your CDs are lower, you can charge the enemy, you can knock up the enemy with your ultimate. So I would say that Lapu Lapu, very up there in terms of the recent popularity as a tank roamer here. But tank roam, of course, we can never forget about Lian Po, Earthshaker. Very consistent in terms of the engage department, and also his ability to soak up damage once he stacks his red bar. Very good of a cheap cost roamer that is not Zhang Fei. But Zhang Fei, if we put him in terms of the highest rank and the most competitive setup, he's always going to be there because of his ability to use the ultimate for a long range setup. Something that the Lapu Lapu and also Lianpo isn't able to do. Once they go in, they don't go out. But once Zhang Fei goes in, he still has a tick shield to sustain himself. So that's what makes Zhang Fei special, even though his ultimate is really all or nothing. So this is the tier list so far. It's not the most complete one, but so far from what I view pro games and rank, these are the best heroes to rank up as a solo, trio, or 5-man. But of course, if you have a specific mastery of a certain hero, it's always the best to know and play what you are good at. And once again, my name is Sagi. See you in the next video. Bye bye.